Flying solo today. Sheets has got stuff going on, so hope he has a good night. And yeah, we're gonna get after this slate. We're gonna talk NBA and MLB. I'm gonna start with MLB and then go to NBA, and we can come back to some questions and just talk about what I'm doing baseball wise. I actually have a little more decision making in baseball left than I do in basketball. I've got some still in basketball, but baseball, I currently have like the Braves at like in like half of my stacks. I'm playing like 20 lineups in the lottery, one in the big, buy-in, and one in the 250, the 222, that stuff. So I'm heavy on the Braves today. That's my highest owned offense by far. And I'm going to be stacking them quite a bit. So I understand that, I don't mind pairing them with some San Diego, but I'm just looking at the Braves ownership here, and it's picked up throughout the day as I sort of expected it would. I still think we're getting it low enough that I think that we should take advantage of it. Good hitting weather there, obviously. So that's part of what I'm doing. I like the idea of being below the field on Cease, even though I have a little bit of them. But I'm using also a ton of Suarez. He's going to probably be like 15 to 20% owned at most. I'm just going to take a shot at 4K and stack Atlanta and San Diego together, and I'm good with that. He helps you get there. I'm using some Quintana, which I don't feel amazing about because the strikeouts are so low, but he's a good real-life pitcher against an offense that's struggling. 6,700, good pitching conditions. So I'm using some of that. I do have some C's, but I'm currently probably about half the field, maybe a little lower. And I also have Reed Detmers more than I thought I was going to, probably just under the field. The ones I'm most overweight are going to be Suarez, by far my most owned. And I'm going to have, let's see what I've got here. Sorry. It's annoying that they have the relief pitcher and starting pitcher thing. I've got Suarez, 50%. I've got 30% Quintana. I'm probably going to end up with like 40% of Suarez. I have 28% of C's, actually, not 22. I thought I had a little less. And I have 24% Kikuchi. I'm probably going to likely switch a little bit more Kikuchi and less Detmers. I do like that. I mean, it's good hitting weather in Toronto, in KC also. So something to consider. And I just realized I'm not sharing my screen, so I'm going to apologize for that. I should always be sharing my screen here, and that was sorry to be bouncing you guys around. But anyway, here's what we got. I also did want to, before I get into everything else, I sort of, that's sort of a rundown of what I'm doing, who I'm using. It's going to be Braves with a combination of those guys, but the main thing I'm doing is Suarez, lots of Braves. I do have a decent amount of Colorado to go up against Cease. I have pieces pretty much everywhere else, I guess, three-mans. I like Toronto, KC. I also think you can game stack that game and just hope the weather, starting pitching struggles, and it's good hitting weather, so I don't mind that at all. I'm not as high on Minnesota as the field is. I have a little bit of some of these pieces because they're cheap, but it's not. I'm just not going to do it as the chalk thing. I'm going to play more Braves. That's where I'm at, and you can see the ownership difference. I actually think, and I want to just shout out Goldie's ownership over here. I think that Goldie's is more accurate what you're going to see with the Braves than SaberSim currently has it. I think you're going to see a lot more single-digit ownership with the Braves than you think, because people are going to be spending 8,700 and 8,500 for their pitchers, most likely, and Kikuchi next. It's going to be hard to get those Brave stacks in that don't have Fletcher, which I'm currently trying to leave Fletcher out of most of my Brave stacks, because he's the 2,300 thing that helps make everything work. I do want to say a quick thing. Shout out to just Brandon Cruz in the NASCAR. He's amazing, man. That guy is incredible, and he had a huge weekend. So did everybody else on the site. So check out that. I mean, we have a great NASCAR package. It's not going to stay this cheap for very long. Neither will all the rest of our packages. We're charging just barely a couple dollars more than SaberSim right now. We've got all of SaberSim stuff, all of Goldie's projections, Sheets projections, my content, Rody's content, all of Brandon Cruz's NASCAR stuff. Is the best in the biz at it. So I hope you guys do have some time to check out what we have to offer. Anyway. Getting back to the what we're doing position by position, because I like to just go through it because there is some value I have at certain positions. I'm going to look at what I'm going to try and match my ownership up and see who I've got the most of. So I've got the most of Sal Perez at catcher. Darno is second, Diaz third, Rushman fourth, Campusano is my last one. At first base, and again, there's a lot of other options here, but this is just what I'm doing. At first base, I'm heavier on Olsen, because I'm stacking that game. I have Gavin Sheets actually as a reasonable play here, and I think at low ownership, I'll take that shot. Sheets when Sheets is out, but maybe he can hit one out for me. Guy's got power, so I like getting some of those White Sox cheap bats, even though their offense is terrible. I don't want to fully stack them. Have a little bit of Guerrero and Josh Bell, Vlad and Josh Bell. I like some of the Miami stuff too. I forgot to mention that. I do think that getting I don't have full stacks of Miami, but mini stacks a lot. I have quite a few of them actually. Second base, I have Donovan, then Fletcher, but Fletcher again, I have 20% to 50% Brave stacks. Maybe that's too much. I got to figure out if I want to do that. Then I've got Arias, Julian, Nicky Lopez, just because he's again 2100 leading off and he could steal a base. He can't hit one out. I don't think. Well, he's hit one out I think before, but. Then I've got Bogarts as my other one, but my last one. Third base, it's a kind of a weird position tonight. I like Austin Riley the most, so that's what I got the most of. I like Ryan McMahon as to get off of the C's stuff. I like Garcia for the Royals, excuse me. And I have a little bit of currently Edwin Rivera. I'm not even sure where he ended up hitting in the lineup since I updated these. So I'm going to still do a little bit of editing and I'll update for the members where I end up ownership wise in the Discord. All right. Shortstop. Let's get over there. All right. Shortstop. Come on. Okay. So I've got the most of, I still have, it's one place I'm eating a little bit of the Kim Chalk. I don't mind it. I like Arcia also as a pivot. He's going to have a little ownership as well. Paul DeYoung, I have a little bit in like 3-man White Sox stacks. And then I've got Ezekiel Tovar. Outfield, I love Tatis a lot tonight, even though it's going to be the chalk play. But I just went more with the Acuna. Obviously, I'm more on the Braves. Acuna, Ozuna. I have a lot of Charlie Blackmon, Jurickson Profar, Michael Harris. Pretty much this, going with the stacks that I've got. So that's pretty much like a rundown of where I'm at baseball wise. I'm happy to talk through any of your guys' thoughts. I'm happy to hear about what you guys are doing. Maybe it's a little bit different because I don't think that my approach tonight is I'm not spreading it out. There's a lot of offenses that I like that I could see happening. If I was playing 5,000 today, I would have like 8 different full stacks, but I'm not. I'm just playing, my little over 1,000 and trying to get as many different combinations of my favorite situations that I can, which I think is just an important thing to always remember when you're playing DFS. Like just because you get the offense right and you're going to have the wrong guys. Yeah, if that's your biggest buy-in, that sucks. But if you have that, 3 big buy-ins or whatever, having some combination of all of the guys in the lineup in at least 2 of those is something that I like to do. Really making sure I get full exposure to the offense that I think is the best offense. I've used 2 out of 3 as an example because that's sort of a range where I find a lot of people tend to play in terms of higher buy-ins. Maybe 1 high buy-in, 1 mid-tier, one 500, 1 200, 1 100 or something like that. All right. So any questions, any thoughts about what you guys are doing? You guys go ahead and drop them on in. I'm not going to, again, we do the game by game in the morning. In baseball, things don't change all that much. There's little bits. Obviously, Machado's out. Get Machado out of your lineups. He was part of my core plays earlier, which I will update just because, again, the core plays, I always say, though, they're good for the start of the day. It gets to be really hard trying to do the shows and continuing to save them while you're doing it, especially when you're doing solo shows. So I would rely more on the core plays earlier in the day. And again, the core plays, I'm below the field on Campusano and Xander, but I still think if you're like building a baseline lineup, that's a good place to start along with Hai-Sung as your normal ones. And if you have a low enough owned stack, if you're going to play the Padres, like do it as a 4-4 with like the Marlins, the Baltimore, who I think is actually really, in another interesting pivot spot against, they're just a good offense. They could get to Detmers. I could totally see this one happening. There's a lot of ones you could pick. So if you're gonna take some of the chalk, which I think it's reasonable chalk tonight to eat some of the San Diego chalk, I would try to keep it to less 4 men or less, unless I was using like Suarez, who's going to be low owned. But I have what's his name in a couple lineups, Jordan Cannon, who's going to be like less than. That's how you can play them and get a little bit off the chalk. You guys want to talk a little bit basketball? This is the least people we've had in here. Tell me what you guys think. I know we cross over with other shows at this time and everything like that, and that's why we get so many people in here earlier. But would you guys rather us do this like a little bit earlier in the day? it wouldn't really be a live before lock, but like an afternoon thoughts, like maybe like at 5:30 Eastern, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, we're trying to combine everything. And again, those other shows I'm not going to say anything about them. They're quality things as well. But I think with Sheets, you get a certain sort of lineup building practice, and then hopefully for me, you get what I historically have been really good at. It's not been the best run, although baseball's been fine so far. I'm actually been happy with the baseball. It's not any huge win yet. Thought I was going to get the golf one this weekend. Oof, boy, that was a little frustrating. I mean, not frustrating. I didn't really think I was going to get it. I thought I was going to win, like at least win like a bunch. And then everybody, today bogeyed 17, 18, 16, 17, 18 for me. So didn't go my way. Anyway, jumping over to basketball, I'm going to talk about you'll see basically this is the script I ran and I'm editing it by hand. So what I did was I entered it 25 lineups into the $20, and I have 20 lineups in the $4. So I'm going to go through and edit by hand these 20 lineups. I've already started doing it. I've got like 15 more to go. It doesn't take me very long with basketball because there's a couple of plays that I know I want to get more of than I got from. You could see where I tried to make a little bit of commitments. Like I forced in weird plays. Like I put in a minimum of 22% Cole Anthony. I understand there's high risk with him and Fultz and all this stuff like that. And there's chances you get like 0 out of them. I don't care. I think you take chances where you can. All right, D Pope. Let's talk about some NBA stuff then, because you got the single entry going. This is for the larger entry. I will give you a little bit of what I'm doing in my bigger buy-in, but I think there's a lot of ways to go. You can see the exposures that I was given. Again, I'm going to edit all these down. I'm going to end up with less than 65% of Kyle Lowry, although I do like him. Probably going to end up with 50% of him, to be honest with you, but probably a little less. I love LeBron tonight. I actually don't even mind being a little higher than that on LeBron. I also have Anthony Davis at 50%, which means obviously I'm playing Anthony Davis and LeBron together a decent amount. Murray is a run back with KCP. Makes a lot of sense. That's another one that I'm going to add more to is KCP, but you can see my ownership's 25% Cole Anthony, obviously trying to make, get different there. I'd like to get a little bit more of the KCP. They were trying to take a stand of going under on him. I think I just like that my guy can play 30 minutes, The other one that I really like tonight that I don't care that you're not going to always get the big up. I just give me the minutes and the games will come. It just happens naturally. It's going to happen. People are lower on Anunoby today and they gave me less. I think that getting overweight, that makes a lot of sense. I think that you could argue both ways on the Bojan thing. It really depends on how you're building. I like the DiVincenzo on lack of ownership, so I'm going to make sure to get some of that. They only gave me one lineup with it. I'm probably going to end up with 2 or 3 out of 25, so just under 10%, I guess it would be. I think that there's a path, and that's all I can ask for. I do like Mitchell Robinson. He's in my big buy-in currently, and I only have him a tiny bit here. I do think he's going to get run again. I really like these Lakers, though. You can see I'm taking a stance being well overweight on both Anthony Davis and LeBron. I didn't get as much so I'm forcing in Rui. Rui's one I think is going to have a better game tonight. I like the forcing of that 4,900, and it's hard to do because you play that with Isaac, then you've got some value to spend elsewhere. You can use LeBron at small forward, Brunson at guard. I forgot I didn't really talk much about that. I really like Brunson. You can see I have 45% there. He's in my biggest buy-in right now. Actually, both of them as well. I'm not sure he'll end up in both, but he will end up in one. You can see I'm nervous about my lack of exposure to this Philadelphia side. It is what it is. I like the other plays better. It's hard. Maxey Murray, you're getting what, 20% Maxey, and you're going to have a lot more Murray. Murray's what, going to end up probably 40%, right? Yeah, somewhere around there. Let's see what Goldie has in that 40. Yeah, that's what I think too. Maybe a little higher in the higher buy-ins. I bet he's like 60 in the 555. Yeah, it's tough. I also am forcing in Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. They didn't get to that much of them, but I'm forcing them in, and I've got a little note here to do it. They did force in a ton of plays from Orlando, and it seems like that's what a lot of optimizers are going to do. I still didn't end up getting to much Paolo. Jalen Suggs, obviously hard not to. It's just the values here. But I don't like as much Franz as I had, and I'm going to sub that out and get a little bit more of Darius Garland on the other side. Basically the same price, different position. obviously to make some things around. The one they didn't give me any of was Wagner. He's the one that I'm definitely going to get some more of when I get out of here. And I'm making an extra note that I really want to get some Wagner exposure, and I probably end up with even a tiny bit of like Wendell Carter. I just think that it's fluid with them. What's going to, how it's going to play. You've got the main guys, but remember, they're used to rotating these guard positions. What if Gary Harris gets 2 fouls? What if they're struggling offensively so much and Cole Anthony gets hot, and with the second unit, they're down by 20, all of a sudden it's a 5-point game. Cole Anthony is going to get his chances if he can hit a couple shots. I think, especially if Gary Harris is in foul trouble. You do want Gary Harris's defense out there, so it's hard to play. But like you already have Suggs, who's like one of the 5 best guard defenders in the league. I do think there's a path for one of Fultz or Anthony to get in there and maybe make a difference tonight. So that's where I'm at. That's pretty much like my rundown of this slate. And I know it's a Monday. It feels like a lazy Monday, but there's a lot of sports stuff going on. And I know that, again, we're competing with other shows at this time. I'm thinking about flipping the times around. Curious for anybody who is our members, if you guys are in there, let me know in the Discord what you think about that, because I'm totally open to getting flexible with it, maybe even doing a time that might be easier for you guys. We're also going to have some afterlock shows and things like that. And we're going to do some courses, some training sessions. Brandon will do some, Sheets will do some, I'll do some with Sheets probably. I think it's really cool. It's been helpful in the past to both the users and to us, to be honest with you. So if you're a subscriber to if you're a member of our site, make sure to let us know, and we'll put you in the queue to get that done. We did Scott McCarty before, and he was awesome because he's a super sharp guy. So shout out to him, and hopefully we can have something else like that again, and people will see around for the next years to come. All right, you like this, MJ? I appreciate that. See, there's one of our guys. Okay, so I'm glad you like it this time. Is there anything else I could touch on? Because I always dry up when I'm talking on my own for this. I touched on these things. I set my core plays for FanDuel. I don't think the slate feels, I guess it's different in one sense, because the pitcher thing, I would just probably eat the Cease chalk in this case. I probably would get some Kikuchi and some Quintana as well. Ever run any promos? Yeah, we do them all the time. We just ran out our MLB promo though, so we need a new one. But we'll have another one at some point soon. Dadox, we'll definitely run some out there. We also have free trials for like everything, so you guys should check out the free trials at least. I mean, look, a week of free trial is awesome. Like go check it out. Like it's worth like $300 a month. go on our site, find it, and join the free trial. It makes so much sense. I don't know why anybody wouldn't give it a shot. And then again, if you're, we'll have another promo season coming up once we get to another big sporting event, maybe the next major for golf or something like that. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, Brandon gets the most views of anybody. Like maybe we do it for something like that. Favorite type of stack MLB. I have some 4-4s today, but mostly, and some 4-3-1s. That's pretty much the most. I think I'd have 1-4-2-2. I think it's mostly a 5-man stacking day for me. I like too much from Atlanta to not get full exposure to that. So I am mostly 5-man stacking, but I have a little bit of the 4-3-1, 4-4 stuff with Atlanta and San Diego and Atlanta and Colorado. Anyway, I appreciate all you guys very much. Please click the like button. We want to keep doing these videos for free. We haven't had this few viewers in a long time, so kind of disappointed. I was pumped about the NBA slate. I wanted to talk a little bit about it. And I wanted some people I was hoping some people would be a little bit more interested. I also did want to throw out like my takes on the games tonight. I wouldn't bet the spread with Cleveland Orlando. I think this game could go either way. If I bet anything, it'd be Orlando plus 180. That's something I considered. But again, it's hard for us to bet in California. I think this game between the Knicks and Philadelphia feels pick-a-me to me, but I'm worried about Philadelphia really not being healthy tonight. And even if we get the word that we've got a full go from Tyrese, still a little concerned that he might be playing with a bug, and Embiid is clearly not himself. But it doesn't mean they can't get there. I don't know what I'm stuck on this one, so I wouldn't bet on this one, I guess is the truth. I would bet the under in Cleveland, Orlando. I like the over with New York, Philadelphia. I would lean the under in the Lakers and Denver. but it wouldn't shock me if you see like come out with like a 40-point quarter from one of these teams. Lakers have got to start shooting some more threes. They've got to shoot them more effectively. I don't really want to touch this one, but maybe if the Lakers were to get a game on the road, this would be the best chance they have. That's what I would say. I think it is the best chance they have. So maybe you take the Lakers there. In that case, I don't still like it. Oh, sorry to hear that. Who's your top stud on DK? That's a must. So I mean, I don't think there's. Like I said, I just shared my exact exposures. So I don't know if I would call anybody a must, considering I don't have anybody locked in. I have Jamal Murray at the highest ownership. I'm going to have less than this. I'm going to end up with 70% of Jamal Murray, maybe 75%. But I just think there's enough value in getting some different types of exposure. So maybe lower my Murray exposure. You know who I didn't get? I'd like to get to more of the Gordon and the Gordon and Porter Jr. I've got a decent amount of Porter Jr., but I'd like to get a little bit more of the Aaron Gordon tonight, just to balance out some of my stuff. Any stress in Isaac is like look at Isaac. Here's my exposure. This is not going to change much. I've got him 95%. Struss I didn't get to, but I like the thinking. Like I like the thinking. That's the kind of a play that you could win a tournament with if he can get in there and get hot or something. It's a little hard at that price tag. You need the weird outlier Struss hot game. But I like it. You know what? I'm going to make a note. I'm going to do a Struss or two. So I'm going to get in on that, Remo. I think it's a good question. I think getting a little, and again, I don't expect the Struss play to work out. This is how it works. But is there a path? There's absolutely a path. And the same weird way that there's a path for Cole Anthony paying off at 4,200. Like, you know what I mean? There's a path. Now, where you play the Cole Anthony or whatever, hoping he gets hot, I also want to play Lowry in those lineups because I don't think he's outscoring Lowry most. I think that's your way of spending down. That means you get the Lakers stuff. You could play LeBron AD, or you can play LeBron. Better yet, what I like the best is LeBron, Brunson, Murray, and LeBron, Brunson, and Murray would be the guys I would like to spend up for the most. Always a pleasure to see you, Remo. No problem, man. Also, Knicks in 5. What's that? Hang out for a bit. We'll just catch in the end. Oh, let's see. I'll hang out for a bit. Also, Knicks in 5. Oh, we'll see. It's possible. I picked the Knicks in 7. I don't feel great about anything with that. Philly doesn't look right. It could be the Knicks in 4. But I have this weird feeling that I think Nick Nurse is such a good coach that I really think they can find a way to make a run. One of these days, Buddy Hield is going to win somebody some money. Maybe that's a move they go to tonight. You know what, guys? Maybe we do get a little bit of Buddy Hield in our lives. You know what? You want to get weird and try to win a tournament with 100,000 people on a 3-gamer? Maybe you throw plays like Max Struss and Buddy Hield out there. Why not? To go with your Cole Anthonys. I think there's some chance. I think look, you just want a path, okay? That's all you can try to get. And the adjustments that are being made from a team that loses to maybe play your big trade line acquisition, that could happen. He could steal some minutes. There's a thing. There's something. Something at some point in this series, you'd think that they'd make an adjustment. And I trust Nurse, and I think that maybe that's an adjustment they look towards. There's also rumors about Paul Reed, them also playing big with Paul Reed. I've heard that multiple places from people that I trust. Not like they're going to start him or something, but like that you're going to see some Reed Embiid minutes. That's another one I could get behind. Just again, you're looking for a few things to get different if you're playing 20x lineups to have some exposure to these things that no one has, and then play the good chalk around it. Yeah, that's fair enough. A Nurse, unlike Doc, will make adjustments, but Doc doesn't need to make any if they keep winning. Yeah, they definitely really want to force these. Again, Gary Harris at the minutes, but those minutes, it's not a guarantee. That's all I'm going to say. Is there anybody else I guess you could make an argument for LeVert as a get weird play too. LeVert, Mitchell is not that get weird, but this is going to be the under-owned side. Maybe get a little exposure to it. Mitchell has some insane playoff stuff where 8,500 is feels like you're cheating by playing him. When Doc was in Philly, I know. I'm just messing around with you, Remo. I know he was so. You know who's a good coach? Tyronn Lue is a good playoff coach. I think Tyronn Lue is like he's beneath Spoelstra for sure, but he's like right there. I think Tyronn Lue is like the man as far as like in-game adjustment coaching. I knew he had to have the Clippers ready for that first game, and they'll have adjustments in Dallas or whatever. But it's so funny because I thought about that series. I actually picked Dallas to win that series in 7 on the road, and I thought that after though when I thought about it, I'm like, God, I really don't like picking against Tyronn Lue in a playoff series. I think he's really good. I really do. All right, guys. I'm with you on that, Remo. That sounds like wonderful. I'd love to see those matchups. You could really get some if you get in touch with the coaches too, you get an idea of what they're gonna do. It's kind of fun. Like obviously it's a little harder in LA because we got Darvin Ham. I don't know. That's the other thing that I was gonna do earlier is like, is he gonna go back into the pattern potentially of okay, Gabe Vincent? I think there's a path. Like I just do. And by then you'll know where your first guys stand. Maybe you can make a couple 2v2 because you're gonna have other players in this game. Maybe you make a 2v2 swap or something if your lineup's doing too well. But if you're struggling, you want to get a little weird with it. I think there's a path. We saw this last year. We saw D'Angelo Russell lose his minutes in this series. Now he played terrible last night, but I actually think he's been different this year. So I'm not saying this is gonna happen, but it would not surprise me if it does happen. So I'm going to throw Gabe Vincent into my little martini mix of bizarre plays tonight. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you all very much. Hit the like button on the way out of here. Thanks for everything. And we'll see you in the Discord. I'm going to finish my builds and let you guys know what I'm up to our members. Good luck.